right, good morning, you guys. Welcome to our leadership call. Here we have Andrew Haboush in the studio, which I'm very excited about. We have just kicked off our new series, so we're on week 2 of Leadership in the Shadows. And before I introduce Andrew Haboush here, I'm going to just kind of kick it off with something that I heard the other day on a podcast, which I thought was pretty cool. I'll tag him in the comments when I figure out what his name was. I'm better with faces.
Steve Harvey.
Steve Harvey, yes. Thank you.
You're welcome.
He was basically saying, like, there's 2 people born in the hospital every single day. The person who is born and they go through life, and in between being born and dying, they work for someone, they follow someone. Basically, they kind of need it laid out for them, and they're following them along. And then there's the other person who wakes up and is born, and between the time they are born and they die, they decide to take a leadership role. And that's what this podcast is all about. We're going to talk about different leadership styles, different leadership skills, what it means to be a leader. Andrew's going to talk a little bit about his journey. But one thing I know for sure is that you're definitely someone who decided to take the path of leading people. I see you lead people in your personal life, in the business life. I've never seen someone be able to get their warm market so on board with what they're doing, whether it's support or joining forces with you, which I think is pretty cool.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. But I think it's really important to understand that, like, when you die, like, there's the date on there that you were born, right, on the grave, or whatever it is, like on the death certificate, which is not fun to think about, but we got to think about those things. And there's a date when you die. So there's a date when you're born and the date when you die. But the dash in the middle is what matters. And I think that you've worked really hard to make sure that that dash means the most to you and your family and the people that you lead. And I think that you're one of the most admirable leaders, and I think that that's a very big role to fill, I guess, on this call. But
dude, I really hope I have a good training for you guys, because it's going to be hard to follow up with.
But what I'm thinking about is it's hard to pick out the people that you admire in your life, because when you pick that person, you picked people to, follow, and you're on board with what they're doing. I think that actually dictates the actions you take and what you begin to do with your life. So with that being said, I admire you. I think that you're one of the best leaders that I've ever worked with and get to do life with. So without further ado, I want to introduce Andrew Haboush. So if you want to go ahead and give us a little bit of background on what your leadership roles are looking like today, maybe take us through what the last few years have looked like for you.
Yeah, I don't want to dive in because I do have some of that in the training. Some things she's going to, catch me off guard, other things I had planned. But Andrew Haboush, 26, born and raised in Las Vegas. Oh, man, business has been up and down for the past 7 years. A lot of being an entrepreneur, it's supposed to be, though, right? There's no one shoe fits all system in the entrepreneur space, dude. It's messy and it's tough. It's bloody. A lot of long nights, early mornings. But it's worth it. And, I'm happy to be here. Our first podcast together. So hoorah. But yeah, I think leadership can be a touchy topic, but I think it should be simplified. Cause everybody has leadership qualities. It's really just like, can you engage into them and then grow on them? Doesn't matter what business you're in, real estate, insurance, being a leader, like, starts with you. And then you can, once you have that figured out, and your path and your purpose and you're certain on what it is that you're doing, it's very easy for you to be able to have other people follow that. So yeah, we'll dive into some more in a little bit, but good morning, guys. Welcome.
Good morning. So I want to talk a little bit about, I guess, where you're at right now in your life. Like, what is the, I guess to you, what is the most valuable character, or I guess, what kind of characteristics do you look for in people to follow? Like, because I know that we're all the leader of our own life, but I know that you look up to people, right, in your life.
Yeah. What
are you looking for when you're looking at finding a new mentor or finding a new coach? Because I think that I can go online and, like, tune in to someone on YouTube or Facebook or join some lives on Instagram. But at the end of the day, you have to be very intentional with where you're, I guess, what you're listening to in the headphones and all the in-between stuff. So what is it that you look for in people, and what's the most important thing to you when you're following someone?
Yeah, 100%. I think that's a great question.
Or a couple things.
It's a great question. So when I first started in the entrepreneur space, like, right? We all get introduced to like one company. There's typically one guy teaching you. And I don't want to say that like I'm not, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm very grateful for everybody that's come into my life. But looking back now, I would have challenged myself to have more mentors. And what I mean by that is like, it would be wrong to think that one human being is going to have the answer to all your problems. Like it's not a good judgment call. Like I think we all have experiences that we can learn from. And as a collective, the more people that you're learning from, the more people in your circle, the better your outcome. Because you have more to go off of. 5 insurance agents who have all been working for 2 years, that's 10 years of combined experience, opposed to one insurance agent that just has 2. See what I'm saying? So now I'm looking at like Safe Haven Agency, for example. Dude, I have you, I have Heartland, I have Gage, I have Michaela. I'm not just waking up in the morning and I'm like, here's the one guy I'm going to talk to and learn all of my trade from. Like, not anymore. I'm currently reading another book based on music production. It's like, hey, dude, even if you really like somebody, go learn from 10 or 15 different people because you're going to accumulate all these different ideas. And I think the goal when you're finding mentors is like, some people try and be like their mentors a little too hard. The goal shouldn't be to become your mentor. The goal should be to take your mentor's experiences and his knowledge, put it into your system, and then adapt it to your traits. And I think that's the difference. People used to be like, Andrew, I can't be like you. Like, you get online and you do these things, and I'm like, dude, I never wanted you to be like me. I wanted to show you maybe something that you didn't see before, maybe inspire you through what I'm doing, and then you adapt that for you and your business. You shouldn't be Andrew. I shouldn't be Ashli. When me and you said, we talk about this all the time, we have different phone scripts. I don't think that's a problem, right? And if you talk to different mentors, you might end up with different scripts. But no 2 people are identical. But I do think we're all human and we all have something to learn from each other. So
I like that. I like that a lot. And I think in the beginning, a lot of times we don't know exactly what it is to do. So I was talking actually to David last night about this, and I was letting him know, I was like, in the beginning, it's going to be uncomfortable. But if you can just, whether you're in sales, whether you're in outbound calls, whatever, I mean, everyone's in sales in their life, in some way, shape, or form. So in the beginning, it's just duplicating and copy and pasting what someone else is doing. And then once you get the hang of it, because if you don't know what to say, like grab something, put it down in front of you, write it down, or grab it from someone who looks like they know what they're doing and has the results. And then after you copy and paste and duplicate exactly what they're doing, then you can kind of add like Andrew's touch or Ashley's touch to it, right?
100%.
So it's I think becoming a leader also means that you're at first, throughout your whole life, you're a student, right? I think that people, like one time I was 21 and I was at this bar and this girl was like, everyone around me was being crazy. There's nothing sophisticated being talked about. There's nothing attractive about what we were doing, dancing, whatever. But there was this girl and I worked with her and she's like stood out, and I still like follow her and cheer her on all the time. And she's like, oh, I'll always be in school. I'll always keep learning. She's like, I'll always be a student. And I was like, I started saying that. I was like, I'm always going to be a student,
What would we be without education?
Right. Exactly.
We'd be nothing.
I agree. But I have an interesting question for you, and we definitely we've never talked about this before, but I was just thinking about it. So there's this thing about you, and you guys may be thinking like, Ashli, he's a dude, he's a guy, like this is guys, versus girls. But I don't think so. There's something very unique about the way that you move, and I think people see this all the time, is we talk about all the time, like not downplaying yourself and like stepping into who you are. Well, along that way, as you're like going through those middle stages of becoming the next version of yourself, and you're elevating yourself, and you're, tuning into like whatever it is that you see fit in your life, and you're going all in for it. People look at you sometimes and they're threatened by it. I've watched it happen. And they look at you and they're threatened by the way you move. And this is just people in general, right? It's not that there's anything wrong with them at all. We've all been there. I've been there. I'm still there, going through these stations of life. But you keep moving and you don't ever talk about those things. And I know you see them, right? But like you just keep moving, and you move with grace, and you move with humility. And I'm just wondering like where that comes from, or what are some things that you do to tune out the noise? Because a lot of times we're so like tuned into the world that we don't take a step back and actually like think about where it is that we're going, and we start pointing fingers and judging, and I'm not this way because of him, and he didn't bring me here. But there's just something about you that you move and you just tune it out. And it's like, that's something I admire big time about you is like, I watch you just move and I know you see it or I know you hear it and you're just like, keep it moving. Yeah. And that just shows me that like your vision is big. So like, what are some things you do or where did that come from? We can get deep or you can just give us some tactical things, whatever you want.
Yeah. It's a pretty loaded question. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
I'll do my best to answer as many parts as I can. But I think that it comes from just, number one, like I don't believe anyone should care. And for me, it's always, I don't know if it was just me or it's been embedded, but early days, school, middle school, high school, kids are rough. Kids will say just about anything. There's no filter. You know, sometimes my daughter says a word or two and I'm like, you just say that, bro? Like, do you know how old you are? Like anyways, we're not going to get into that.
Hey, Andrew.
Yeah, my daughter calls me my first name. It's unbelievable. Only when people come around and she hears she only knows dad. But getting back to the point here is, I just don't believe you should care. If there's something you want to do in life and you feel like going for it, then go for it. I just listened to a podcast with Gary Vee and he's like, dude, everyone has their own problems. They might really quick for 5 seconds get on your post and let their thumbs rumble, but like the other 23 hours and 59 minutes of the day, like, dude, they don't care. So why is it that big of a deal? Like, we sit down here and host a podcast. I was sitting with the other agent. Everything that we do every day, like, yes, our teams are seeing us constantly. Our new agents, our parents, our siblings. So all of those people, like, you should care a little bit more about what those people think about you because they're going to be in your life forever. But it's still like a stranger, like it would probably affect me 0.01%. A family member might affect me like 5 to 10%. And the reason that number is still so low is because, I'm sorry, but everyone's their own human. If you're having a bad day, I can't let that come in and mess up my day. My dad's going to hate me if he watches this, but like, we were talking the other day and he started off and I said, Dad, I can't start my day like this. Like, because I don't want to talk about this or like move this way. So I think when you're going in all things in life, insurance, music, anything, people are going to say nasty things. You're not good enough. You can't do it. Whatever. They should go do something. Dude, take that with a grain of salt. Like, I would not care. And if you came and talked to me and you showed me them, I would probably look at them anyways and be like, who cares, bro? Small people talk about other people.
Yeah.
Bigger thinkers, we're always talking about ideas. We're going to get off this podcast. How do we make the next one better? We're going to get off this training. How do we make the next training better? Systems. If we have other agents talking about what it is we are or aren't doing, like, I don't care.
Right.
It's none of my business. I have my own mission to go succeed. So
yeah, I love it. Real quick, I just want to point out, you guys, that was so well put because you kind of got out this point that I think this is why I think you are the way you are. You don't assume anyone's perfect, and you literally said humans are just humans, and I can't let their bad day affect me. So you're assuming that they might be having a bad day, not that there's anything wrong with you. You don't take any accountability into like the way that someone else is acting towards you or, you know, maybe trying to get you to play smaller. So I love that because you just have no judgment behind it. I heard one time this quote, and then I'm going to let you dive into your training here, is judgment is the withholding of forgiveness to those in pain.
Ooh.
Like, I love that.
That's deep.
That was like one of the first podcasts I ever listened to. And it was, judgment is the withholding of forgiveness to those in pain. Basically just saying, like, everyone's going through stuff. Everyone's going through stuff. And so...
It's okay. This won't be a PG-13 channel. It's for adults.
So, you know, it's just cool to hear that and, like, let that sink in. Like, judgment is the withholding of forgiveness to those in pain. Like, you're withholding, forgiving them for what they're going through, and you don't even know what they're going through, you know? So I want you to go ahead and dive into your training. I know you got some stuff for us on leadership. So if you kind of want to take the floor and I'll just sit back.
Absolutely.
And enjoy the show.
You got it. All right. So again, today's call is based on leadership. This is the Friday Leadership Weekly call. Probably one of my favorite topics to talk about just because I think everybody can relate it into their life no matter what they're doing. And it's like an itch. And once you start scratching it, it feels so good and you want to keep itching. And it's like, I love leadership because it's endless, right? Like, you read a book from a guy in the military who just happens, you know, to be our buddy's friend. And it's like we're not military people. We do have a ton of family in the military. But again, right, it's addicting. You can learn from everybody. You can learn from a guy who was born 100 years ago that went to war. He probably has some really smart lessons to share. So anyways, without further ado, introduction to leadership. Really excited to kick this thing off. I'm excited because this training made me reflect on my past qualities. And I think that's big because we tend to move so fast in business. We're always looking forward. Sometimes it's nice to just sit out for a second and take a step, take a look back on how far you've come and what you've accomplished and what's changed. Because what I'm going to dive into here in a little bit is how I used to run my business and how I run my business now has like dictated those different results. But when you're lost in the sauce, you have nothing to grow from, right? You've only gotten that far. So I think it's very important for people to take note of what it is they're doing in business, how they're growing, the qualities that they want to have, the qualities that they currently have, and then, just adopting some different traits along the way. And again, finding some different mentors to help guide that process. All right, guys, so quick read. In its simplest form, leadership is influencing other people to follow. Therefore, anyone who can influence people to follow them has leadership qualities. Pretty simple. Effective leadership enables followers to succeed. It sets direction, builds a vision, and adapts as circumstances require. Leadership is about mapping out where you need to go to win as a team or an organization. It's dynamic, exciting, and inspiring. And then this last part I really liked. Leadership happens at all levels within organizations and societies, not just among those who work in defined leadership positions. Essentially what it's saying is, dude, this is about each and every one of us, right? Like, we are only good as we are as a whole. If we all woke up tomorrow and decided to go rob a bank, like, things would look really bad. If everybody woke up tomorrow and decided to pick up one piece of trash on the side of the road or feed somebody who's in need, it'd be a lot better world very quickly, like instantly. Yep. So again, diving back into leadership, I personally correlate leadership with recruiting and getting agents selling for insurance. That's what we do. That's what I love. It's what I know. But I wanted to keep this training very simple so everyone can adopt what they've learned and then put it in their business immediately. So understand in business, whether you're an agent in insurance or anywhere else, simply be the leader you needed when you started. I think that's it. Like, sometimes we get too caught up in this leadership role of like, what should we do? How should this look? I have to create some new system, right? Like, no, dude, break the wheel, use what's in place. And how did you feel as a new agent? Were you struggling with your script? Were you not sure which carrier to write? Did you not know where to plug into? Did you feel you had a lack of resources? Dude, fill all those gaps in your new agent's, whatever, memoir, whatever schedule, and things will start to click. And all you need is one. Like, some people are confused. The second that you have one agent, you're a leader. You are now a leader. You have someone you brought in that is now counting on you. So be intentional about it. Don't be like, oh, I just have one agent. No, dude, that's a human being. Like, they have bills to pay. They have to feed themselves. They may have kids. They may have a family. Like, dude, don't take that with a grain of salt.
Yeah, you don't sit in front of the people that you help, your clients, or when you're trying to make a sales pitch and go like, I only got one in front of me. You know, you're like, this is the one I'm going to pour into right now and give the best presentation I've got because I want to close this deal.
100%, dude.
Yeah.
What are we trained to do? Take time with the one family you're sitting with. Why? Because the next 3 or 4 might no-show you anyways. Mm-hmm. Same thing with agents. Dude, if you have an agent calling you needs help right now, help them. Give them all the time of day. Mm-hmm. I've hired hundreds of agents, and I understand that some come, some go, but the people who want to work and they reach out for mentorship, if you dive into them and you pour into them, it's endless. Yeah,
I think that there's like 2 main things too. Just want to point out that people have when they're getting started, and it's, I think, important as a leader to identify one of these 2 things. And make it simple on yourself. Like, is it A or is it B? They either have a limiting belief in themselves. Most of the time, that's it. That's what it was for me. I never grew up and was like, I'm going to be an entrepreneur. I'm going to be a millionaire. Like, that wasn't me. I just stumbled upon it. Yeah. So you have that lack or that limiting belief in yourself, or just a limiting belief in the system that you're in. So, like, how do I need to get you from where you are now to where I know you can be and where you say you want to go?
100%.
Like, you just got to identify those 2 things. Is it them or is it the system? What are they not believing in?
Yeah. And again, dude, I should have said this a lot earlier. Like, you should be taking notes. I mean, some people get on here and say, like, just take one thing. No, dude, when you have someone talking for an hour, you can get multiple things. Yeah. Like, you have, tons of years of insurance combined here, but so much other stuff that you can bring back to your families, your personal life. But guys, diving back in. So just be the leader that you needed when you started. That's it. You don't have to have 100,000 followers on Instagram. You don't have to drive a Lamborghini. You don't have to live in a mansion. Like, dude, all those materialistic things do not define a leader. I have been around plenty of people with money and nice things. 90% of them, in my opinion, I wouldn't classify as leaders or having good leadership qualities. I would say they have status. That's about it. So with that being said, dude, understand that, dude, I've met majority of you guys, and I haven't found an agent yet that's lacking leadership qualities. And what I mean by that is, like, dude, what we do. Let me read this because I want to say it correctly. I
love that you prepared too.
Yeah. So just understand that in insurance, right, we can inspire, we can prove production, and we can give training to agents and duplicate that as well as anyone in the industry. So, like, you have to understand that with those things, that's all that you need to be as successful as anyone in this industry. I get it, dude. Music, you might have to have a niche. You might have to have some special it factor. You know, investors, you might have to have some capital to start. In insurance, no, dude, if you have a cell phone and a laptop, like, dude, you're ahead of the game. If you have 5 people to reach out to just to see if you can help them with coverage, you're ahead of the game. If you have 3 people who have, you know, normal entry-level jobs, like, you're ahead of the game. So, like, understand that, like, that's how it starts for most insurance agents. When I started, I wasn't recruiting anybody. Like, I just wanted to sell insurance and pay my bills. Like, I was behind on bills big time. But then after seeing what it could do for me, I was like, damn, dude, how many people can I go save with this opportunity? Like, if I was a single dad, had an eviction notice, behind on all of my bills, and in 2 months made so many thousands of dollars to not only catch up on everything, but then to propel forward and figure out that, like, what I did wasn't that hard and that anybody can do this. I mean, like, the requirements are, you know, I don't even think you need a high school diploma. I'm not sure, but but anyway, so diving back into the training. So the 3 things that I wanted to share with you today that I think you need to make this thing successful and have structure. I'm a very systematic person. Like, I like A, B, C. I don't like looking at the alphabet and be like, I'll find my way through. Like, no, read it to me, sing it to me. So again, a vision, a plan, and a training that allows your agents to achieve your goals. See, so this is what I want to touch on. So back when I was in my early MLM days, we don't currently participate in MLMs anymore. I think they are great. You know, we talked about it. If my kid asked me, should I go to college or should I go join an MLM company? I was like, go join an MLM.
100%.
Yeah, you'll learn to build relationships. You'll learn to shake hands. You'll learn to publicly speak. You'll learn to think differently. That's my personal opinion. I think if you want to be like a vet tech, I think you should go to school because maybe joining MLM is not going to help you like go save animals.
Sure.
So again, entrepreneurs, business people, I would recommend you get your hands dirty, you get your feet wet. And with that being said, so when I joined that company, dude, I had a vision and everybody was extremely excited, as most people are when you find something that could potentially change your life or your family's life, or can potentially take you from, 4 or 5 figures a year to 6 figures a year. Like, these are exciting topics that get people to go, oh my God. So the vision's now installed. We now have people thinking differently and understand what they could do for their life. Where I lacked was I didn't have a plan and I didn't have training. The company was arguably more attractive than insurance, right? Health and energy drinks. You show up to a meeting, you pay this, and boom, you're a business owner all in one day. Like, believe it or not, But again, most people want to see their dreams come true. Well, how do you show them that we can make your dreams come true without a plan and without training? Mm-hmm. So a lot of these companies, they tend to phase out because they sell these dreams and they can't make them come to life. Whereas to here, it's like, dude, here's the vision. Let me show you my goals, my plan, my strategy. Now let's talk about you. Let's talk about your goals. Let's talk about your plan. Let's talk about your strategy. If what I'm doing is going to align better with your end goal, then you might want to look into this. Again, right? That's a leadership quality. Just challenging people to understand that there are other ways in 2022 to do business. This isn't, 1950 where the internet hasn't been invented yet. And you have to talk to Joe, Bob, Sally, and whoever, Mary Ann, and figure out, it came off the top of my head, and figure out what jobs are on the market in your small little zip code. Now you just pick up your phone And dude, you can have access to hundreds of entrepreneurs in all different career fields who are willing to get on the phone with you, train you, help you, and like push you forward. So like there's no excuse anymore. When I see my friends stuck in jobs, I challenge them like, dude, why are you there? You see me post every day. You know I do this, and you know it's not that hard. I'm not doing rocket science. Like I have a client, they want insurance. I call them. I'm like, hey, this is Andrew. I'm here to help you. We get them helped. That's the business. It's not that deep. But again, like you have to understand as the agent, the reason I'm sharing this with you is because most people aren't going to hear about this opportunity unless you share it with them. Insurance companies, and especially what we do, we're brokers, they pay us. They're not going to be pushing all this money out to marketing. All that stuff you see on Instagram and Facebook, those are from companies who are pushing marketing because they're getting directly paid by what they're posting those ads. Insurance companies aren't doing that. They're paying you. That's why we get paid high commissions. That's why we have bonuses. That's why we have renewals. So just understand that, like, dude, you have everything in your arsenal that you need to be as successful or more successful than anyone in this insurance. Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong.
Dude, like this.
You're on a roll.
So yeah, dude, just understand that if you have questions, reach out. I'm here. Ashley's here. We would love to help you. I think what I do best is, getting people inspired, recruiting, and training agents. That's my passion. That's my vision. I love doing it. I could do that all day, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, no sleep. I'd be fine with that. All right, guys. So diving in. So now I wanted to give everybody something that they could take with them today. And this was big for me because this helped me achieve my goals, and I think it's going to help everybody on here. So for any of you that know Bobby Proctor, he was a big mentor of mine when I first started this business. So was he for our boy Brad Alcazan. Just a great overall guy. Had a tremendous career. But with that being said, one of the things that he inspired people to do was to carry a goal card. Right. And it's pretty simple. It says like my goal. It has the date, the month, and the year for when you want that goal to be achieved. And then the words are, just so I don't butcher it. So it's, I'm so happy and grateful now that ... And then you get to fill that in. And the purpose of this goal card is so that every time you see it and you touch it, you should be carrying this with you every day. And I'm going to challenge everybody in here to create one today and throw it into Slack. I'll be the first. As soon as I hop off here, I'll get that printed so you guys can see what it looked like. Dude, but this was huge for me because every time I touched that card or saw it or felt it in my pocket, I was inspired. I immediately knew what it said on that card because I wrote it down. So regardless of what I was doing throughout the day, as soon as I touched it, if I wasn't propelling myself towards that goal, I felt accountable for my actions. And I think a self-accountability is huge. Like if you can't be self-accountable in today's date, like, dude, there's no shot for you. There's too many people working too hard, holding themselves accountable that like you kind of have to up your level. So again, I would recommend you guys make this goal card. I would get it laminated just so it stays in good condition throughout the year. And real quick, just to share this with you.
What does it say real quick, the goal card?
I'm gonna share this with you right now. Gotcha. Yeah. So this was written on April 13th of 2020. April 2020. So on the goal card it read, my goal, January 2021. I'm so happy and grateful now that I am a vice president in the company mentoring 40 agents and have another 5 I am personally coaching to be vice president in the next year. I cracked that goal in October. But mind you, right, my 9 to 12 month goal had now been cracked in 6 months. But how often throughout that year was I reminded of my goal due to that card? Maybe an extra 100 times. So maybe I did an extra 25 to 50 times more work throughout that year. Okay, we'll compile that in a 4 to 5 year span. This is why some people achieve their goals in 3 to 5 years and some take 15 to 20. If you remind yourself every day of your purpose, your vision, and your passion, and what's going to propel you towards that next level, dude, it's easy to get behind it. But we live in a day and age where everything sidetracks us. Dude, there's so much entertainment. You can probably walk down the block and just knock on your neighbor's door and just go kick it with them. Like, that's the world we live in. Instagram, another challenge, calling some people out right now. I did this to myself a couple months ago. Go look at your daily time limit on your phone. Show me how many hours that you are spending towards nonsense. You're either using your phone for business or entertainment. There's no in between, right? We watch podcasts in bed. I love Joe Rogan's podcast. If you ever see this, and I get big enough, put me on your show, dude. But again, dude, so much stuff just deteriorate, like just taken away from our goals all day. And very small percentage of people can, again, right? Like, can you drown out the noise with positivity, with success? And that's why the 5 people you hang around, I guarantee you, it's going to be your future looks like. There's not, this didn't happen by accident. You know, chance for sure that we both joined the same company and we were in that company at the same time. For sure chance, but not by accident. So that's big and that's important. So guys, goal card, laminate it, write it down. Let's get it done. I hope this helps some of you. Definitely feel free to reach out to us for anything you guys need. But thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll see you next time.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in, you guys, to our Leadership in the Shadows call. We just finished week 2 with Andrew Haboush. I appreciate you. That was an awesome call. We will see you next week.